Hi, it's Deanna, and tonight I'm going to show you some of the hair work jewelry that I just recently acquired and added to my collection. Now, I have a growing collection of hair jewelry, and a lot of people who have never seen this before really think that something like this is gross. And I had to admit, when I first saw examples of this, I was really grossed out by it and repulsed. So basically, what this is there a lot of times people erroneously call this mourning jewelry. And there are different kinds of human hair jewelry that were considered mourning jewelry. And mourning jewelry was pretty much jewelry that around the 1500s were popular. So when somebody passed away, they would preserve locks of their loved one's hair and turn it into some kind of memorial piece made out of the hair into jewelry. So there would be all sorts of jewelry made, and a lot of times it was called memento mori, and that was almost like they knew that their mortality, was short lived, and because people didn't live as long as we do. So back then, it was very special to keep a sentimental piece of hair and to cherish it and hang on to it because they didn't have photographs of their loved ones. So that would probably be the only memory that they had that they can hang on to of their loved one. Now, it started to fall out of favor for a little time. And then, sometime in the Victorian era, during the reign of Queen Victoria, her beloved husband Albert passed away. And that was, I believe, in 1861. When Albert died, she had taken a lock of his hair and turned it into a locket, I believe. And she wore it until the day she died. And anything that Queen Victoria did, pretty much everybody decided to do. And so mourning became a fashion. And she wore all black. She made all the people of the royal court wear all black. And then everybody all over the world started to wear all black when their loved ones died as well. Now, a lot of times, erroneously, people think pieces of jewelry like this are mourning jewelry. But a lot of times, since it was such a fad to wear hair, it didn't mean that you had to wear it because you were mourning or you were sad because you lost a loved one. And a lot of times it was just a fashion piece. So, for example, a lot of times you'll find these type of hair work pieces, and it's an art. I don't know if you can see how beautiful this is. Now, a lot of people would take their locks of hair and turn them into gifts for people. So, for example, a lady would send her hair to a mail order company like Sears or Montgomery Ward, and they would have a catalog that you could choose different designs. If you sent your hair in, you could choose different ornaments to add to the hair. And they would have hair work artists. So women would sit at weaving tables and turn hair into different sorts of pieces of jewelry. So you can get earrings made with your hair. You can get a pocket watch made for your fiance out of your hair. And that would be given as a sentimental gift, or your husband, you could give that to. You would get necklaces, you would get brooches, you would get pendants, rings, bracelets, you name it, made out of your own hair. Now, this was so popular at one time that, believe it or not, you can actually, from a catalog, order your piece of jewelry, and other companies would actually do some pretty sneaky things. So a lot of times you would send your hair into, say, Sears or Montgomery Ward or a jeweler. They would send this out to places that did hair work. And what they would do was there would probably be not enough hair to make a really nice, exquisite piece. And so they would take hair, ladies would sell their hair, especially they would get it imported from Europe, like from Swedish countries, Italian countries, where ladies had long, thick hair. And they would match up the hair color with the hair that was sent into them. And they would actually mix it together to make a more elaborate piece. And so you wouldn't even be getting your own hair, especially if you were doing a memorial piece, because people still did memorial pieces and bought mourning jewelry by sending in their deceased loved one's hair into the catalogs. So it was pretty nefarious things. And then what happened is, after people started to find out the truth, Sears put a disclaimer in their catalog saying that if you send the hair in, they will not guarantee that you're going to get the same hair back. So it was like almost like a warning, trying to release themselves from liability and lawsuits. And then what happened was towards the end of the the end of the 19th century into the beginning of the 20th century, people started to not trust these companies. And then this particular art went out of fashion and is no longer being done. So from about 1900 to about 1910, that was pretty much the end of this. And you can thank companies like Sears and Montgomery Wards and all the companies that were crookedly actually deceiving people. So what I'm going to show you is three examples here. Now, the example on the right is actually a sentimental pocket watch chain. So a lady had sent her hair probably to one of these companies. Now, also, a lot of women bought special books that had instructions on how to actually make pieces like this themselves out of their own hair. So they didn't always send it in to get done to a jeweler or a mail order company. Sometimes a lady would actually make this herself. So this is a pocket watch chain that a lady probably gave to her husband or fiance. This has no metal mountings like these type of pieces. This is just all hair. And so it has like a really, really pretty ornamentation. As you can see here, there's like a little piece. I'm trying to get a good focus in here. And you can see it's like little nuts going around. And then we have weaved braiding going around as well. And so a gentleman would actually attach his pocket watch to here and then attach the other part, the other loop, to his button on his coat. Now, the next piece we have, along with this piece, are pieces of jewelry. And both of these are from the same person. And it's very hard to find a set of jewelry. And so what we have here, this one is my favorite, is a necklace. And this is a necklace as well. This one is really beautiful. And this has a tongue and groove closure, which is also known as a box clasp. But look at the workmanship on this. Has 3 strands of weaved hair going across the piece. And this was a choker necklace. And this has like gold-plated metal, hardware. So you could see some tarnishing. So it was like a thin layer of gold, probably about 9 carats or 10 to 12 carats of plating going around it. Some of these pieces were made with real gold or silver. Then we have this piece here, which is another choker necklace. So this was the closure part right here, which is probably gold plated as well. And it has a little hook that you can hook the little loop onto to close it. And the front of it had a pretty little like knotted type of gold plated ornament. And then look at it has like 3 actual strands. So you have 2 smaller strands that are braided and a more intricately woven centerpiece. Look how beautiful that is. I mean, that is really outrageous. Trying to like show you the workmanship on this. Now, this was not something that was made quickly. Somebody worked for many, many hours making pieces like this. This was not something that you can make in 5 minutes. So these were very expensive, even if you didn't use real gold or silver. Some of these pieces could cost somebody $100 to $500, depending upon how intricate it was and how, like much gold they used or precious metals. Sometimes they had gemstones in them as well. Now, back in the olden days, let's see. So some of these pieces were $1. Some of them were $10. Now, back in about 1870, 1880, $1 was worth like $30, close to $30. So if this was $10 back then, this would probably cost somebody $300. And a lot of these pieces were around that price, $7 to $10. Now, a piece like this would have probably cost somebody possibly like $2 or $3, maybe less because it doesn't have the metal ornamentation on it. This might have been $1.50, which was about, let's see, 30 is $1. So, like it could be anywhere between $45 to $75 for something like this. and it was made out of your own hair. So I really hope you enjoyed this little like show. I call this show and tell. And if you learned something and like what you see, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. And I hope to see you all soon. So long.